I like that one.
The story of Bernie Cusbell begins with his parents, Joseph and Cecilia. Joseph Cusbell was born in Czechoslovakia in 1887. Around the turn of the century, Joseph decided to journey to America along with thousands of other European immigrants. He had to temporarily leave his wife Cecilia behind as he set out on his voyage. Joseph arrived at Ellis Island and then moved on to work for a local New York railroad. Then he and his brother bought a dairy farm in New York. It seems that the brothers didn't get along too well together, and Joseph decided to set off on a cross-country adventure of the U.S., finding odd jobs along the way. He made it to California, where he picked fruit as a migrant worker. Then Joseph went back to New York once again to work with his brother on the dairy farm, and Cecilia joined him this time. They started their family with the birth of Mary, and then Joseph Jr. The conflict continued between the brothers, ending with his brother stealing the equity in the dairy farm and leaving for Europe. Once again, Joseph was on the move, this time heading for the South Shore of Chicago and the small town of Whiting, Indiana. There he found work at the local Sinclair oil refinery. Joseph and Cecilia continued growing the family. Next came Bernard, then Cyril, Irene, and the youngest, Frank. Bernie grew up in Whiting and graduated from Whiting High School.
I got a gal in Kalamazoo.
World War II had just ended in 1945 when he enlisted in the Army and completed basic training at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. From there, he boarded a ship bound for Hawaii and passed through the Panama Canal. It's been said that Bernie used his poker skills to take full advantage of the GIs on board. Bernie served in the Army till October of 1947.
Standing on the corner, watching all the girls go by.
He then enrolled at nearby Albion College in Michigan to study economics. While attending college, he began dating Therese Mack, who also lived in Whiting. The romance continued, and on June 15, 1951, Bernie and Therese were married. Bernie was soon hired by the General Electric Company at their headquarters in Schenectady, New York. Schenectady, with a population of about 100,000 people, was a manufacturing center known as the City That Lights and Hulls the World, a reference to two prominent businesses in the city, General Electric and the American Locomotive Company. Bernie and Therese's first child, Kathy, was born in 1953, and then Joan followed in 1955. Bernie was transferred by General Electric to the San Francisco Bay Area. He and Therese found a home in the South Bay city of San Jose, where son Jim arrived in 1957, followed by Bob in 1959. Another transfer led them to a home in the East Bay, Hayward. There, the next child, Ed, was born in 1963. Bernie would often take the kids on day trips to places like the San Francisco Zoo, the beach, or Frontier Village. The next move was back to the South Bay, where they settled in Saratoga. Son Paul arrived in 1965, then Janice in 1968. With their family of 7 children now complete, Bernie and Therese set off in 1969 for the livestock and oil capital of the world, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Bernie became an avid photographer with his camera always at the ready. Bernie always enjoyed participating in games and puzzles with the kids, and was known to occasionally place bets with them with Yahtzee points or gamble the change in his pocket. Bernie was known for singing songs around the house, some more popular than others.
In a cavern, in a canyon, excavating for a mine, dwelt a miner, 49er, and his daughter Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine.
Daisy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? Yes, Mersey dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? If the words sound queer and funny to your ear, a little bit jumbled and jivey, sing Mersey dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey. Oh, Mersey dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? A kiddly divey too, wouldn't you?
Volare, oh, cantare, oh. Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear that pitter-pat? Oh, that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny
Fishing was a popular pastime for the family, and Bernie would give tips to anyone willing to listen.
I love little baby ducks, old pickup trucks, slow-moving trains, and rain. I love little country streams, sleep without dreams, Sunday school in May, and hay. And I love you too.
After all the high school graduations were complete, Bernie and Therese became empty nesters in 1986. Then, Bernie received one last job transfer and was off to build a home in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where they lived for the next 10 years. By this time, all 7 children had married and started their own families. When Bernie retired, he and Therese decided to move back to Edmond, Oklahoma.